Good morning, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us this morning for the Pembrokeshire Marine Code Industrial Heritage Training event. I'm Alec Denny, the Sustainable Recreation Coordinator with Pembrokeshire Coastal Forum. Outline for the morning is I'm going to be taking the chance, the opportunity to introduce Pembrokeshire Coastal Forum and the Marine Code to give a background to the project. And I'll also be introducing the Big and Rocky Industrial Heritage Coasts quiz. And then we'll get on to the important part of the morning and we'll discover more about the awesome and interesting archaeology, geology and coastal life forms of the Pembrokeshire coast with knowledgeable speakers Thomas Jones, Sid Howells and John Archer Thompson. There will be about 20 minutes time at the end for a more in-depth panelist Q&A session before we wrap up and aim to finish the event by 12:30 today. There's just a bit of online housekeeping. Your microphones and videos should already be muted and turned off anyway, so no need to worry about that. We are going to be using the Q&A function today. So if you have any questions for the panelists, please do use the Q&A section. And then depending on the timings and if appropriate, some of these questions will be asked to the presenters at the end of their presentations, or we will keep them and store them ready for the longer Q&A session to the panelists at the end of the event. So that leaves the chat function, if that leaves it free for if you're having any technical issues, any problems there, more general issues, please use the chat. And just to let you know that today the presentations are going to be recorded, so they will be available after the event if you need to catch up on anything or share with anybody who wasn't able to make it. So Pembrokeshire Coastal Forum, we're a community interest company and we have the sustainable development of the coast at our core. PCF was actually born from disaster following the Sea Empress oil spill in 1996, where coastal authorities in Pembrokeshire recognised the need for an independent stakeholder-led organisation. And so PCF was developed to help deliver integrated coastal zone management. Interestingly, it's actually 25 years since the oil spill, so we are celebrating 25 years. We work to help protect and enhance the marine and coastal environment, its landscapes and seascapes, and rich biodiversity for current and future generations. And we recognise that rural coastal locations such as Pembrokeshire face many challenges, such as environmental change, demand for natural resources, and lack of employment opportunities. So we develop collaborative projects that deliver groundbreaking solutions to these challenges. And the Pembrokeshire Marine Code is one such project. I am sure you'll all agree that our reasons for enjoying the coast are linked and driven by the quality of the environment and the wildlife it supports. Unless this is protected, this sounds quite dire, but we risk losing the very ecosystems that provide our livelihoods and enjoyment. And even with a network of statutory designations in place, which this slide shows, the designations that happen in and around the Pembrokeshire coast, a voluntary approach to marine conservation can have a lasting and positive effect on an area, helping to protect wildlife for future generations. Managing large marine areas with multiple access points and uses is challenging and requires significant resources. So the Marine Code took a voluntary approach with regards to reconciling the differences between stakeholders with contrasting opinions and statutory obligations. The Marine Code is a voluntary approach developed in 2002 with local wildlife boat operators and other organisations working closely with the Pembrokeshire Coast National Park Authority and the RSPB. It's developed to promote a sustainable approach to the use of Pembrokeshire for outdoor activities with the marine environment. A voluntary approach to minimising disturbance to marine wildlife. So it aims to limit disturbance and protect marine wildlife from increasing recreation and leisure pressures. The actual code itself protects the amazing marine flora and fauna for which Pembrokeshire is renowned through voluntary codes of conduct and seasonal agreed access restrictions. But it also realises the important role that marine and coastal tourism plays in Wales. And it protects marine wildlife through codes of conduct for seals, seabirds and cetaceans. We're also quite a novel approach with the Marine Code in Pembrokeshire is that there has been seasonal access restrictions agreed between a number of conservation and outdoor coastal user bodies, and maps have been produced which are both temporal and spatial visualizations of the agreed access restrictions. This example map is of Skomer Island, and there is the orange areas on this map show where there's seabird nesting restrictions between March and July. The purple areas show the sea pupping areas, which are prevalent between August and November. And then the yellow areas show seal and seabirds areas, which are restricted between March and November. There's also other information on the map which shows where you're asked to slow down around the island, and some hashed areas where you may encounter cetaceans. So an actual Pembrokeshire Marine Code leaflet was created with these maps and the messaging, as well as the specific species related codes of conduct. There are 3 general principles which we are trying to share with Pembrokeshire coastal users, which was plan ahead, keep your distance, and reduce speed and sound. And there is also an extra good one to know, which is knowing how to view wildlife. So maps have been created for 11 areas in total, which provide more detailed advice. And the areas shown on this slide were chosen in part where sensitive coastal species will come across and encounter encounter recreational activity. That's a close-up of the maps there. And it's, as I say, it's a novel approach that other areas are keen to adopt, as it's a great way of sort of visualizing where you may encounter more sensitive species. And there's a larger map of Skomer for you. So with the Marine Code project, we are continuously sort of trying to educate and communicate the messages, providing positive advice to enjoy the wildlife of Pembrokeshire in a responsible way. Other areas are also adopting the same approach, as it seemed to be a positive approach. Examples such as the Penclean Peninsula, we're looking at our methods, and we create communication educational materials. Various publications have been developed which incorporate the messages and try and be a helpful resource for coastal users. The Marine Code Boys highlight how the project approach continues to adapt, and the implementation of the Marine Code Boys are placed around the coast of Coldy Island. It was a new approach and was required to change behaviour out on the water, but a request by tour boat operators that personal watercraft users were providing a bit more disturbance to coastal wildlife around that area. And the thought of creating these Marine Code messages on very visible buoys around the island. So there are 3 key areas shown on the map there, and it raised further awareness of the Marine Code and its first use of navigational aids, and it has been very successful around Coldy. It might not be the correct approach for other areas, but currently working well around Coldy. And we use the Sustainable Development Fund bid, which is match provided by the tour boat operator, who actually insures the buoys, launches them and retrieves them, and also provides storage for them. We've got, the publication here of Marine Code fact sheets, A5 booklets, which continue promotion of the code is required, and we needed materials which have a market value to help support the long-term sustainability for the project. Over the years, a variety of methods have been used. So there's fact sheets, amazing insight into coastal animals, plants and geology included, codes of conduct, and also the maps, as well as invasive non-native species information. There's also our Marine Code tide tables, which are published yearly, smaller sort of A6 pocket size, pop in the car as well, which have the Marine Code messages and also very useful tide tables, so you can plan your fun days out along the coast. I was going to say, if you know of anyone else who'd like to support Marine Code by stocking either, say, tide tables or fact sheets, then they do get in touch with us. That'd be great. And last but not least, but there is the Marine Code app. Wanted to quick chat about, which is free to download and puts Marine Code information at your fingertips, and has interesting wildlife facts in there as well. I say the tide tables have also been added to the Marine Code app, so can be accessible through your phone. It's we'd like people to get involved and download the app, and there's a possibility functionality that you can actually report to the wildlife sighting through the app, and things are sent to the local record centre, which is the West Wales Biodiversity Information Centre, which really helps them collect information on the distribution of, say, lots of species around the coast. This image on the, so you'll see there, of the oceanic pufferfish, which is thought to be the first found on the coast of Wales. Unfortunately, it's deceased. And then the other image there of, say, I think the mackerel there, showing the record of plastics in our seas. This also, say, all provides an interesting and useful sort of scientific snapshot of what's happening around our coastlines. So please do use your internet and download the app to pass on to family and friends and your groups. If anyone already has the app on their phone, you can join in this little app fun facts side here. There's anybody, if you want to be brave and use the chat section and have any idea of how loud a minke whale is. I don't know if anyone's using the chat, so I will put you out of the. There we go. But minke whales up to 152 decibels, as loud as a jet taking off. And there's an interesting fact about seal pups that they only are with their mums for just, say, weaned after just 3 weeks, and they need to put 2 kilograms on a day of fat. So that's why it's such a sensitive time in the pupping season, that they have that short amount of time to get their weight up. There's actually interesting that I found here that the largest leatherback turtle was actually found in Wales near Harlech, and nearly 3 meters long. It's huge. And also more related to today is that the oldest rocks in Pembrokeshire are as much as 650 million years old. So we would like your help, and there are a variety of ways you can get involved so we can continue to get the important messages out there. Pembrokeshire's stunning wildlife for the enjoyment of everyone. There's access to engaging information to enable you to effectively share it with your groups. If you know a business, a local visitor attraction, or accommodation provider who would like to support the protection of marine wildlife by stocking the tide tables, then do get in touch with me. And here's just to introduce the big and rocky Industrial Heritage and Changing Coast quiz. The quiz that's been created to go in line with this event. It's a fun and informative quiz, and The link to the quiz is in the Zoom description. It will be open till the end of the week. Quite a long quiz. So please do have a go at the quiz. And the closing date's Friday the 5th of March. And points do we mean prizes. First prize, so we'll send out a waterproof Marine Code fact sheet, slightly different to the other fact sheets that are available in the shops. This is a fully waterproof version that can be taken out with you out on the water. So please do play the quiz, and you can also use the Q&A with panelists at the end of the event to help with any of the questions if you wish to. So thank you for listening to that, my introduction of the Marine Code.